Okay, so for my project proposal, I decided to do a magazine for Sunburst Youth Academy. And I thought that this would be a great way to have a student-made magazine to have an outlet for the students so they can share their creativity, their work with the faculty, as well as their parents having a digital magazine. And if we had the budget, a hard copy magazine too. So how this would work is I would take role of running the magazine as the editor and the publisher of it, and I would have the final edit of the magazine to make sure that it was school appropriate. But I really want this to be an outlet for students to share their passions, whether it's just an opinion piece about how they feel at Sunburst, artwork, poetry, different articles, photography, just a way so they have a voice at Sunburst because they don't have a lot of the times they're just told what to think and what to do. And I feel like if they had more expression of who they actually are, they would be able to connect with each other and build camaraderie, which I feel was lacking this cycle with some of the classes.
Mhm.
So my project objective is I want students to have, like I said, the outlet to express themselves through the stories, photography, artwork, and find a common thread between each other.
Mm.
So I plan on achieving this by having the students work within the classroom, within my classroom, collaborating with other teachers so they can also implement the same lessons. Maybe they would differentiate instruction by having uh, a higher level learner who's finished with their homework or project and they can work on a piece, I don't know, a story. They can interview one of the cadre, something like that.
Oh, that's
So
a good idea.
yeah, that would be cool, right? So the project impact would be that students will be inspired by each other's work. So this will my this might engage a student who, like Obieka, for example, who is very into social things, who has a lot of opinions, but isn't motivated to do work. So this might be a way for her to find an outlet to investigate something that's important to her, to find purpose in the work that she's doing. Um, I think this would be also a great way for parents to gain access to their children's experiences at Sunburst
Mm.
through this digital magazine. That way, they can have some kind of inclusion into the process that their children's go through, their child to go through. So, and also it'd be a way for faculty to be more involved in encouraging the students to produce work. Sometimes, like I said with Obieka, like she wasn't motivated to do work, but this would be the perfect outlet for her or somebody, some other types of students. Um, so the project description is that the students can submit any type of work. It might not be approved, it has to be school appropriate, but something that strikes interest in them. And then I would be the key editor of the magazine, but I would also have other students who might want to fulfill different roles like design the template, organize the different articles, um, and then really produce this piece of work. So the way it would work is that the the project implementation and plan and timeline would be that um, there would be the magazine would start at the beginning of the cycle. I'd introduce it within the first week, and how it would the turnaround would be that they would start working on it immediately, and by the first of the next month, that's when the first edition would be released. So there's about 5 months at Sunburst, so that would mean about four magazines would be released.
Yeah.
And really, there's no expectations as far as what content there is. It's more about their journey. So whatever they're kind of experiencing, maybe they submit a letter home that they want to share to the whole public, of student body of Sunburst. just so they can gain insight about what they're experiencing. And I almost feel like this would be an alternative to like Instagram or social media for the kids.
Yeah. Mm,
So tools for measuring success, I want them to focus on design, collaboration with each other, with faculty, with fellow students. Expression is a big one, letting them, you know, say their voices in a way that can be thoughtful, or just share imagery or poetry. And then also community. Community is the biggest part about it. Like I want all the students to know what's going on in each other's lives in a way that's not superficial, and it's in a way where they can finally see eye to eye, because I feel like that was the thing that was lacking the most with this cycle that we just had. So that's it. That's kind of like an example of what they could put on the magazine. um, and I'm gonna get out of the the presentation mode and get some feedback from you.
I I think that's man, a wonderful idea. I would be so excited to implement something like this. And whenever you talk about Obieka and having plenty of opinions but not really wanting to do the work, I bet if you asked her a question like, "Well, what do you think about this issue that's going on right now?" I could totally see something like this, her being motivated to do an opinion piece for the newspaper, right?
Yeah,
Because she has opinions, right? I mean, but I love the idea of community and bringing people in the different ways to express creativity, whether through art, poetry, and all those different facets. I think it's awesome, and I'm wondering if there's any free or not too expensive platforms.
there
So
for sure are. Yeah, for sure.
and the kids, I'm sure, would know a lot more about these different platforms than I do. And that if you just put a computer in front of them, they would be able to make it all happen. But I like the idea a lot. I mean,
Cool.
that'd be really really cool. Yeah, and I like the idea of it being starting it right away in week one with the first edition coming out at the beginning of the next month, because they get that feedback right away. It's not a project that we're going to do someday towards the end of the cycle, but it's right now. It's right away, and and it would be cool if there's a way to be able to talk to the powers that be to see if it's a good enough finished product, if they can have the parents view it, right, and then at least have another way of being able to see some of their students' work.
Exactly.
I think it's a great idea.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was inspired by what you showed me in the iMags. You know, so like I think that would ultimately be something that'd be cool for them to share with the world. But let's start smaller and have them just share with each other at Sunburst.
That's a really good point, because I mean, if it ever got to the IMAX piece, we could take maybe one or two of the best pieces from the
Exactly.
Sun magazine and share
Exactly.
that. Um, I was going to say one other thing, and it slipped my mind. But yeah, I think this is a really cool
Cool.
idea. Yeah,
We
yeah.
actually we actually did this once at Sunburst with Miss Wilson. I did this with her, and I made the magazine with her. It was like more like an article or whatever, with different. I mean, the same idea really, um, but then the principal at the time, she just wasn't into it or whatever. So I think Denny would be a lot more willing to do something like this.
Yes, yes, and oh, that's what I was going to say. Actually, is that she keeps on. I want to use the word pestering, but that's not. She wants us to do some kind of cross curricular piece where we're all working together on this kind of a main theme, and
Hmm.
I think this would. I think she would support this idea 100%.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mrs. Martinez, Miss Garten, they're all very willing to work cross curricularly, and even I'm sure the math teacher and Miss T would be able to find ways to contribute too. So I think it's a wonderful idea, man.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, go for it. Maybe you can try to do it next cycle.
I will, and I think my first step is I want to start investigating platforms that are, there probably would be free, but
There's
um,
some free ones. Yeah, there's some out there. There's probably like a Google one that you could use to
okay.
organize it.
Yeah, I'm going to start with that and looking at that. And now that I have 3 weeks off plus the 2 weeks of pre-challenge, I've got a good amount of time to get my thoughts together because I think this is a wonderful idea.
Cool. Yeah, and then when I have my classroom, then our classrooms can collaborate. That'd be cool.
Oh man, that would be really, really cool, huh?
Yeah,
All right, man, you need a classroom, dude.
I know. I'm gonna look for one. It might take a while, but I'll find one.